discussed how to send the state of the object into the file system, into a serialized file using serialization, and how to retrieve the information from the serialized file into a Java object. Okay, and today we'll see several hiccups with serialization. Okay, now let us consider that there is a static attribute name. Okay, now is the static attribute serialized or not? Is the static attribute serialized or not? No, static attributes will not be serialized. Just because only non-static attributes will be a part of the object, the state of the object will be serialized. The state of the class will not be serialized. The state of the object will be serialized, but not the state of the class. So non-static attributes will not be serialized. Sorry, static attributes will not be serialized. Static attributes will not be serialized. Static attributes will not be serialized. Okay, only non-static attributes will be serialized. And let us consider that we have a class employee, we have a class employee, and in the class employee we have employee ID, I'm writing a setup. So I have written a setter method to the employee ID. Let me write a getter method. Okay, now I have employee class. Now if we try to create an object to employee class, now let me try to serialize the object. Now if you want to serialize the object, we should go for this application. Okay, where we are going for a output stream. Okay, we go for output stream and we execute the write object method to write the object. Now let me try to create a employee object. Let me try to create a employee object. Now let's make employee as a subclass to person. Let's make employee a subclass to person. Now, can I serialize, or is employee class eligible for serialization or not? Is employee object eligible for serialization or not? Just think it logically. Think it logically with OOPS concepts. You can get answer. Yes or no? Yes. How you can tell it as yes? How you can tell it as yes? If you are telling yes, there should be some reason. How? How employee becomes serializable? Okay. Okay. Not properties. Okay. You have told almost 90%. But since person implements serializable, even employee also will become a specialized entity for serializable. Since person is a specialized entity for serializable, even employee also will be a specialized entity for serializable. If a person is serializable, definitely employee also will be serializable. Just because person implements serializable, person is a specialized entity for serializable, and employee is a specialized entity for person. In turn, employee will become a specialized entity for serializable. So, if a person is serializable, in turn employee also will be serializable. Now, if the superclass is serializable, definitely the subclass also will be serializable. Okay? So, if we try to create an object, employee set ID, and set name, set employee ID. Now this is the employee ID, and let me try to process the employee object. Let me try to process the employee object. Okay. Now what I am doing is I am trying to process the employee object and the file name employee.sci. Okay. I am trying to process the object into employee.sci. Now what I am doing first, I am constructing the employee object and then I am setting the ID. Is set ID method exists in the employee class? Is the method set ID exists in the employee class? No. Okay, it is being inherited from person class to employee class. The set ID as well as set name or the methods in person class, they will be inherited to the employee class just because they are public methods. Public methods will be inherited to the subclasses. So set ID and set name can be executed using the employee reference and set employee ID. Okay, I have executed set employee ID. Now the employee object contains 3 attributes. After the process of compilation, the employee contains 3 attributes: ID, name, employee. Okay. Now we can process this information into the file system using serialization. Just because person is serializable, even an employee also will become serializable. Okay. Now let me try to compile the application. Let's compile, go to the classes. Let me execute the application. Now, if you see the location, files, test. See, employee.serialization file is being generated. Now let me try to deserialize the application. Sorry, let me try to deserialize the information from the file system. Okay. To perform the deserialization, what I'll do is, let me comment out this code. I'm commenting this code, or let me write another class for deserialization. Okay, that would be better. Let me name it as deserialization demo, so that we can run two different applications. Where it is? Now this is specific to serialization, and now write me a code. Let me write me a separate class for deserialization. Okay, this is a separate class which I have written for deserialization. The same code is being copied and pasted here. The same code which we have executed, we need not to write once again. We have copied and pasted here. Now we have separate class for serialization, separate class for deserialization, but they interact with the same file. Okay. Now let me try to compile. Okay. We want to compile all the files at a time. We can compile using start.java. Okay. Just compile. Now go to the classes. Okay. One more thing that we need to do is, now it is not a person object, it's a employee object. Get ID, get name, and get EMP ID. Okay. Now I'm trying to, now let me delete the file first. Let me delete the file from the location, and let me compile the application again. Just compile, go to the classes. Okay. Sorry. Going to the classes, we need to execute the application. Let me try to execute the application. First, the file will be serialized. The serialized file is being generated. Now, let me try to execute the deserialization demo. Is that the information that we have serialized? Yes or no? Yes. So, if a class is serializable, if a class is serializable, then all the corresponding classes will be automatically serializable. Okay. If the class is serializable, then all the corresponding subclasses will be automatically serializable. Now let's consider like person is serializable and I don't want to make the employee as serializable. Understood the requirement? Person is serializable and I don't want to make employee as serializable. Then what I need to do? If this is the question that I ask in the interview, what do you tell? Person is serializable, but I don't want to make the employee as serializable. What I need to do? How I can achieve this? Great answer. It's impossible to do like that. It's impossible to restrict the inheritance. Okay? If you inherit the superclass means, if you inherit a class means all the superclasses or all the super interfaces of the class will become superclasses, or all the generalized entities for the superclass will become the generalized entities for subclass also. All the generalized entities of person will become generalized entities even for employees also. All the superclasses to person will become superclasses to employee also. All the super interfaces of person will become super interfaces for employee also. We cannot filter the inheritance. Filtering the inheritance is not possible. So, if person is serializable, definitely employee also will be serializable if employee extends to person. We cannot restrict that. It's not possible. We cannot restrict the inheritance. Or we cannot restrict the levels of inheritance. Like only up to person inherit the members. See, we cannot inherit in such a way that please inherit only from person. Don't inherit from serializable. That kind of thing is not possible. See, employee extends to person and person extends to implements with serializable. Okay, we cannot make inheritance or we cannot achieve inheritance in such a way that employee extends only with person, not with the superclasses of person. It's not possible in Java. Okay, if we are extending with any other class or if we are implementing with any other interface means we should be ready to extend or implement the super interfaces or superclass of the corresponding class. There is no way of filtering that. Understood? So that's one thing. And now what I need to like, there is a person class which implements with serializable and employee class which definitely will become serializable. Now I don't want to persist employee ID in the file system. I want to persist ID as well as name but not employee ID. Then how I can achieve this? How I can restrict employee ID from serialization? Static? Making it static? By making it static, can we restrict employee ID from serialization? By making employee ID as static, can we restrict employee ID from serialization? Yes or no? Yes. But does the static have any meaning? Yes. What is the specific purpose of static? If you want to make some attribute common to all the instances of the class, then we use static. But are we using static for that purpose? No. Then it's not a correct thing, right? Making a attribute as static just because we need to restrict it from serialization is incorrect. We should not make an attribute static just because it is supposed to be restricted from serialization. In order to restrict an attribute from serialization, static is not the perfect way. Then how? How we can achieve that? Means There is another access modifier named transient. There is another access modifier, transient. Transient is an access modifier like final, abstract, static. And transient can be used only for attributes. Transient access modifier is used only for attributes. And only non-transient attributes will be serialized, or only non-transient members of the object will be serialized. Only non-transient members of the object will be serialized. Only non-transient members of the object will be serialized. Okay? Only the non-transient members of the object will be serialized. Transient members of the object will not be serialized. Transient has a specific meaning. Transient should be used to restrict a specific attribute from serialization. To restrict an attribute from serialization, we should not use static. We should use transient. Now the interviewer may pose a question. Okay? Are static attributes serialized? What do you tell? Yes or no? Are static attributes serialized? No. Static attributes will not be serialized. Now, in order to restrict the attribute from serialization, why should I use only transient? Why should I not use? Why don't I use static? There is specific purpose of static, which should be used only when it is supposed to be made common for all the attributes, all the objects or all the instances of the class. But that is not the purpose here. To restrict the attribute from serialization, we have a specific access modifier, transient. If that is the purpose, we should use transient. If the purpose is to make an attribute common to all the objects of the class, then we make it static. If the purpose is to restrict it from serialization, then we use transient. Transient is an access modifier which is allowed only for attributes. And which specifies that the specific, which tells that the specific attribute will not be serialized. The transient attribute will not be serialized. So, let me make employee ID as transient and let me compile the application again. Let me remove the existing serialization file. Okay, and let me try to compile the application. Okay, go to the classes. First, serialize the file. Okay, serialize the information, serialize the object into the file system. Employee object will be serialized into the specific file, employee.scr. Now let's try to deserialize that. Now what is the value of employee ID? Null. Why the employee ID is null? Just because even the employee ID, here if you see here in the serialization demo, did we set the employee ID as null? Did we set the employee ID as null? No, we have set a value HCU2332. Okay? Now this object is being serialized. Even this object is being serialized, only ID as well as name are serialized, not the employee ID, just because the employee ID is transient. That's why once we create a new object, after creating a new object in the read object method, what happens is first employee object will be created. Okay? And ID will be set, name will be set, and employee ID will not be set just because it is transient. And employee ID will have a default value which is null. Since employee ID is a string, Since employee ID is a string, the default value will be null. So that it's printing the value null here. Understood? This is how it will behave. This is how we can restrict attributes from serialization. Okay? Now let's consider that a person has a class address. Now let's consider like we have a class address. There is a class address. Now let me write a setup for the door number. Sorry. Let me write a setup for street. Let me write a getter. Let me write a getter for door number. And let me return the street name. Now there are two attributes in the address class. One is door number, another is street name. Now let me try to process the address object into the file system. Set door number. Okay, now let me try to process this into a file system which is address.scr. Okay, let me try to process the address object. Now, is the address object implementing with serializable? No. Now, let's try to serialize an object which is not serializable. Now, let us see what happens. Okay. Now, I am trying to serialize an object which is not serializable. Now, let me try to compile the application. Is void. Sorry. The type of getter should be a string. Now, what are the classes? Execute the application. Now, what is the exception it is raised? Not serializable exception. When a not serializable exception will be raised means when we try to serialize an object which is not serializable. Java.io not serializable exception will be arised when we try to serialize an object which doesn't implement with serializable interface. If we try to serialize an object which doesn't implement with serializable interface, then not serializable exception will be arised. Not serializable exception will be arised when we try to serialize an object which doesn't implement with serializable interface. Which doesn't implement with serializable interface. Understood? Yes. Now, if you want to serialize employee object or person object or any other object, a class should be serializable. Otherwise, it will give a non-serializable exception. Now, let me consider we have address class. We have a reference to address. Now, is address a static or non-static attribute? Static or non-static? Non-static attribute. So, now let us see. Now, there is an address which is a non-static attribute. Okay? And we are trying to serialize the person. Okay? Sorry. Let me try to serialize the. Sorry. We should have setter and getter. Okay, and let me write together also. Okay, now person has a setter and getter for address. Now, let me try to compile it again, and while serializing, let me go back to the employee object. Let me try to serialize the employee object. Okay. Okay, and let me try to serialize the employee object. Now I am trying to serialize the employee object, and serialization file also employee dot SCR. We are not setting the address. Okay. Now let me try to serialize the employee object. Let's compile. What are the classes? Execute the application of serialization. We'll just see what happens. Employee is serialized. Let me try to. Now employee is being serialized. Now let me delete the existing file. Sorry. Let me delete the existing file. Employee.scr. Again, let me try to reserialize by adding the address object. Okay. Now let me set the address. Okay. Let me set the address. Now let me try to compile application. Go to classes. Execute the class. What is it telling? Not serializable exception. Earlier was it giving not serializable exception when we did not set the address? When we didn't set the address, was it giving not serializable exception? No. When the address value is null in the person object, or when the address value is null in the employee object, it was not giving non-serializable exception. But when there is a value to the address object, or when there is an address object inside the person, or when there is address object in the employee object, then it's giving not serializable exception. So in an ideal scenario, if there are attributes in a specific class, then all the attributes of the class should be serializable. In an ideal scenario, we don't know whether address will be for, let's consider like for there are 100 employees. For among 100 employees, there is no guarantee that all the employees will have address, or there is no guarantee that all the employees will not have an address. Let's consider like 20 employees has an address, 80 employees doesn't have an address. For 80 employees, serialization will be successful. But for the 20 employees, those who have the address, serialization will not be successful. But the application should behave consistent whether there is address or not, whether there is address or not for the employee. Okay? So, in general what we do is, if there are attributes in a specific class that is supposed to be serialized, then all the attributes of the class should be serialized. When there is a class that is supposed to be serialized, then all the attributes of the class should be serializable. When there is a class which is supposed to be serialized, then all the attributes of the class should be serializable. Otherwise, it will give a non-serializable exception at the runtime. Now, we have employee. Employee has address, which is inherited through person. Okay? Address is not serializable. But if we try to serialize the employee object, it is giving exception, not serializable exception. So, there are attributes in a class that is supposed to be serialized. Then, all the attributes of that class should be serialized. Or all the attributes of the specific class should be serializable. Now, how many attributes will be there in the employee class after compilation? How many attributes will be there in the employee class after compilation? There will be ID, address, name, employee ID. Anyhow, employee ID will not be serializable just because it is transient. Okay? ID, address, name will be serializable. Okay? And ID is a primitive. A primitive will be automatically converted into corresponding wrapper class object. What is the corresponding wrapper class object? Integer. Okay, and integer wrapper class object will be the information present in the integer wrapper class object will be persisted in the file system. In the same way, string. But all the wrapper classes as well as string classes are serializable. Already they are serializable. Already a string class as well as all the wrapper classes implement serializable interface. So the problem did not come until if we add address object. The problem came only when after adding address object. Just because address is a class which is created by us, so it's our responsibility to make address as serializable. But already the string class and all the wrapper classes are serializable. Understood? So since all the wrapper classes and string classes are serializable, it was not giving a not serializable exception in the earlier executions. But in the current execution, what we have done is we have added a new class. Hello? తర్వాత కాదు క్లాస్లో ఉంది. నేను చేస్తాను.
Actually, these three attributes and ID, address, and name are the private purpose class. So, how will they become member to that super class which is inheriting, which is extending to this level?
Technically, they are not the members, but while serialization, what happens is it will execute the getter methods.
The internally execution is there.
Internally, it will try to fetch the state of the object.
That's what I am not calling the getter method.
See, internally, what happens is the state of the object is fetched. Okay, but the state of the object contains the values of the current class attributes as well as the values of the superclass attributes. The values of the current class attributes as well as values of the superclass attributes. The state of the object doesn't mean that only the values of the current class attributes. Okay, the state of the object means that the values of the current class attributes as well as even the values of the superclass non-static attributes.
But it doesn't matter that those superclass attributes are private or not.
No. Where we are? Yes, address. Since address is not serializable, okay, and address has some value in employee while serialization, address is not serializable, and there is a address reference while serializing the employee object, it's giving a not serializable exception. If there is no address, if address value is null, then will it give a non serializable exception? Yes or no? If we are not setting the address, if we are not setting the address and the default value of address in employee is null. If the address value is null, then will it give a non-serializable exception? No. But we should handle either ways. The application should behave the same either ways. Either we are setting the address or we are not setting the address. Okay? So, as a convention, what we should do is, if we have attributes in a specific class, okay, and if the class is supposed to be serialized, then we should make all the attributes as serializable. So we should even implement that's the perfect way. Okay, now let us see whether it will be compiled and even executed successfully. Now the address object will be serialized. Sorry, the employee object will be serialized. Intermittently, it will serialize even the address object also. Employee object will be serialized. Internally, even address also will be serialized. Now, while this serialization, now let me give get address dot get door number and get address dot get street name. Okay. Door number. Okay. Parenthesis is not there. Now let me try to compile and let me try to go to the classes and let me try to execute the deserialization. Let me try to execute the deserialization. So already the employee object and the corresponding address object is being serialized into this serializable file. Now let me try to deserialize. Now the first three attributes are of employee. The second two attributes are of address. Okay. Is the address serialized along with the employee? Is the address information serialized along with the employee? Yes. If the whole is serialized, okay, even the part also will be serialized. Okay. If the whole is serialized, even the part also will be serialized. Whole means here employee. Part means address. The whole employee is serialized means even the part address also will be serialized. And then let's consider that we have a door number. Okay, we have a let's consider like we have attribute employee ID. Now let's consider like employee ID is non-transient. Now is the information employee ID serialized? Yes or no? Yes. So now let me try to compile the application. Go to SRC, compile the application, go to the classes, execute the application, and even execute the deserialization application. Now, is the value null or the employee ID? It's not the null, it's the employee ID. Just because even this will be serialized now. Now, what I'll do is after serializing the object, what I will do is I will change the name of the attribute to employee ID. Okay. Now set employee ID. Okay, and even the getter also. Okay. Now what I will do is I will compile the application. Here 114. Sorry, did not modify the getter. We have modified the getter also. Now let me try to compile the application. Now the application is compiled. Now go to the classes. Now what I do is I execute the deserialization. Now at the time of serializing the object into the file system, what was the name of the attribute? At the time of serializing the application, we have serialized the object, we have serialized the employee object before changing the name from EMP-ID to employee ID. Understood? Now in the serialized file, the class information will be there and even the attributes information also will be there. Understood? Now before changing the name of the attribute, we have serialized. After changing the name of the attribute, we are trying to deserialize the file. Understand? Now, let's see what happens. What is giving? Invalid class exception. Okay? The local class is incompatible. Just it is telling that it's an incompatible class. The class that you have serialized is different, and the class which you are using for deserialization is different. Okay? That's the exception that will be arise at the runtime. But when there is a significant difference, in the serializable class, okay? When there is a significant difference in the serializable class, then to represent the difference that is changed, to represent that is being changed, what we do is we use an attribute. Okay? Let me tell once again. When there is a difference or when there is a change in serializable members of a class, when there is a change in the serializable members of a class, when there is a change in serializable members of a class, in order to indicate the change, we use an indicator named serial version UID. We use the indicator serial version UID. It tells the version of the specific class. It tells the serialization version of the specific class. And in general, the serial version OID will be a type of long and it will be a private attribute. Name is serial version UID of type long, which is static and final. The data type will be long. To make it a long, we should append L at the end. One L means long. Just we are telling that one is a long by making it one L.
Could you repeat the topic again? So after changing the name, then asking your file, it should contain the attribute in the right file.
Yes. I would not able to get your question.
Could you repeat the topic? I didn't get the topic.
Do you need to repeat the topic? Yes. First, what we have done is, the first thing we have done is, we have an employee class. Okay? In the employee class, we have, let's consider that we have employee ID. Okay? And ID which is coming from person, name which is coming from person, and address, which is having a reference to another address object, which is having door number, street name. Okay, understood? Now the value is, let's consider like 1, 2, 3. ID is 100. Name is some Ravi. And door number is 1-2-3. And street name is Mumbai. This is the object that I have. Then what I do, I will serialize this object so that I have the state of the object in the file system. Understood? This object state will be there in the file system. This object state means the class information as well as the corresponding attributes information and the value information will be there. Okay, a class as well as attributes information as well as what are the values of specific attributes. All the information will be there in the serialized file. So what we will do is, again, we are changing the name of the attribute from EMP ID to employee ID. Now, again we are trying to deserialize this. While trying to deserialize, what happens? It will try to create an object to employee, that's fine. Okay? And it will try to set the value, some 1, 2, 3 to EMP ID attribute of the employee class. But does the EMP ID attribute of the employee class exist? No. Now while deserialization doesn't exist. So there is a conflict. It tells that it is an invalid class. Okay? To overcome these problems, what we do is we define a serial version UID. Okay? We define a serial version UID as an attribute in every serializable class. So that it tells the version of the class. Okay? It tells the version of the class that is serialized. So now it should be a static attribute, which should be private and it should be final. The data type should be long and the name should be serial version UID only. It should not be other name, it should be serial version UID and it can be any long value. Now, whenever we change or whenever we make any significant change in the serializable classes, like adding an attribute or changing the name of the attribute or changing the data type of the attribute, like that. When we make any significant changes in the serializable class, definitely the serial version should be changed. The serial version UID value should be changed. That's a convention. Whenever we make any significant change in the serializable class, significant change in the sense, it should affect the serialization. If you change something, if it affects the serialization process or deserialization process, then it is a significant change. Okay? Then if there is any significant change in the class that we are trying to serialize or deserialize, or simply the class that is used in serialization, then definitely the serial version UID should be changed. So we should serialize as well as deserialize with the same serial version UID. We should serialize as well as deserialize with the same serial version UID. We should serialize as well as deserialize with the same serial version UID. So now the attribute is employee ID. So let me try to serialize the file. Understood what I have done? The serial version UID tells the serialization version of the specific class. So that while serialization as well as deserialization, we should use a class with the same serial version UID. Understood? So let me try to go to SRC, compile the application. Okay. Now let me delete the serialization file first. Compile the application. Go to the classes. First execute the serialization. So first I will serialize the object into the file system so that serialization file is generated. Now let me try to deserialize the object. So is the object deserialized? Yes. Now what I will do is, after serialization, I will make a change so that it will be back to employee EMP ID. Okay. Let me set the employee ID. This serialization also. Okay. Now let me try to compile it. Now there is a significant change in the serialization. Okay, there is a significant change in the serialized entity just because the name of the attribute has been changed. So in that case, in this kind of cases, we should change the serial version UID. When there is a significant change, okay, in the serialized class, significant change means a change should affect the process of serialization or deserialization. Then in that case we should change the serial version UID. So now let me try to deserialize application. Okay, it tells that earlier the serial version UID was 1, now the serial version UID was 2. Okay, it clearly displays that earlier, while performing the process of serialization, the serial version UID was 1, but now we are trying to deserialize with a class which has a serial version UID of 2, so I can't serialize. Earlier this kind of messages was not displayed, so now it clearly tells that when we had serialized the